He was born on May 28, 2000, in a quiet town called Stockport in Greater Manchester, England. At first glance, Philip Walter Foden might not sound like a name that would turn heads, especially for Brazilian fans. But that's exactly what makes his story even more intriguing. Today, he's not just another player, he's a revelation in English football, a left-footed magician, making waves at Manchester City and standing out in a league filled with stars. But behind the goals, the assists and the trophies lies a journey that very few truly know. At just 23 years old, Phil Foden is already in the fight to be the best in the Premier League, sharing the spotlight with names like Salah and Saka. But before we talk about titles and statistics, we need to take a step back to the roots. Because Phil's story isn't just about football. It's about legacy, sacrifice, and the pressure of greatness from a young age. From entering Manchester City's academy at the age of 8 to becoming one of England's brightest hopes, there's more behind the name than meets the eye. So, who really is Phil Foden? How did a boy from Stockport become one of the most dangerous weapons in English football? And what's next for a talent that seems unstoppable? Stay with us, because the real story is just beginning. He was just 17 when the world really started to take notice. The stage, the U17 World Cup. The result? England were crowned champions, and in the middle of it all, a skinny, sharp-footed kid was making waves. His name, Phil Foden. But within his family, they had to get creative. You see, he shared the exact same name as his father, so to avoid confusion, he got a nickname, Ronnie. And yes, even his teammates got in on the fun. Benjamin Mendy once called him Baby Shark on social media. It might have sounded like a joke at the time, but it stuck. Because Phil, just like Manchester City, had teeth, and he knew how to use them. By the time he turned 18, Phil wasn't just scoring goals. He was making real-life moves. He bought a house, not just for himself, but for his entire family. A $2 million home in Bramhall, a more upscale area still within his beloved Stockport in South Manchester. That tells you a lot about who he is. Family-oriented, grounded, loyal. His parents, Claire and Phil Sr., live with him to this day. He never forgot where he came from, but he wasn't afraid to move forward either. His inspiration, none other than David Silva, the Spanish magician who lit up Manchester City for years, and who also lifted the World Cup and 2 Euros with Spain. That was the level Foden dreamed of, and he's getting closer than most ever will. Still only 23, and already his trophy cabinet is overflowing. Premier League titles? He's got them. FA Cups? Yep. Super Cups, League Cups, even the Champions League, the one City had been chasing for years. And with that came the Club World Cup. It's a collection most players would envy in an entire career. But for Phil, none of those titles come close to the greatest achievement of his life, becoming a father. At just 18, Phil Foden and his longtime girlfriend Rebecca Cook, whom he started dating during their teenage years, welcomed their son into the world. And yes, in a twist of poetic chaos, they named him Ronnie. Now 2 Ronnie Fodens walk around the house, and somehow it just feels right. Off the pitch, Phil is calm, almost quiet. He doesn't chase the spotlight. He prefers a day with his son, time with Rebecca, or a quiet moment with his dad by the lake. Fishing, that's his thing. So much so, he once skipped Manchester City's Premier League title celebrations in 2018 because he had a fishing trip planned with his father. And yes, he stuck to it. That's Phil. That's who he's always been. The youngest goalscorer in City history. A future legend in the making. But still, deep down, just a Stockport lad who loves football, his family, and the silence of a calm river. And maybe that's why fans love him, not just for the magic on the pitch, but for the way he lives off it. So now we ask you, is Phil Foden just another rising star, or is he something even rarer, a grounded genius in a world that's constantly losing its grip? Let us know in the comments. What part of his journey surprised you most? It was a cold night in March 12th, 2019 to be exact, when a young boy from Stockport did something that would forever etch his name in the history of European football. The opponent was Schalke 04, the stage, the Champions League round of 16. And there he was, Phil Foden, only 18 years old, stepping onto the pitch with the kind of confidence you only see in players twice his age. Then he scored. And in that single moment, he became the youngest English player to score in the knockout stages of the Champions League, just 18 years and 288 days old. But that wasn't all. Months earlier, he had already set another record. At just 17 years and 177 days, he became the fourth youngest English player to ever play in the Champions League. And as if destiny had something bigger in mind for him, Phil Foden also became the first player born in the year 2000 to ever start a match in the competition. His name wasn't just on the score sheet, it was being written into the history books, literally. In the 2020 edition of the Guinness World Records, Phil Foden is listed as the youngest player ever to receive a Premier League winner's medal, a title he earned during the 2017-2018 season. Think about that for a moment. While most kids his age were stressing about school exams or learning to drive, Foden was already lifting trophies with Manchester City, but even meteoric rises come with turbulence. That same year, in 2020, while on international duty with the England national team, Foden and teammate Mason Greenwood found themselves in the middle of a scandal. It was during the height of the pandemic, a time when the world was shut indoors and strict health protocols were in place, especially for national teams. But Foden and Greenwood broke the rules. They invited women into their hotel room, violating COVID-19 safety regulations. The backlash was immediate: disappointment, anger, headlines. They came close to being kicked out of the squad permanently. But instead of hiding, the two players faced the storm. They apologized publicly, admitted their mistake, and were eventually brought back into the team. It was a turning point, a reminder that even rising stars are human. They stumble, but the great ones, they learn. And Foden learned. He kept his head down, worked even harder, and proved that his future wouldn't be defined by one mistake, but by countless moments of brilliance that followed. And those moments keep coming. Now, when we talk about the best left-footed players in the Premier League, names like Mohamed Salah and Bukayo Saka dominate the conversation. And rightly so. They're electrifying talents. But if you're truly watching the game, closely, carefully, you'll notice something. Phil Foden, he's not just on their level. He's starting to surpass them. Why? Because of his versatility. While Salah and Saka mostly operate on the right wing, dominating their zones with sharp runs and quick cuts, Foden is different. Yes, he can play wide, but he can also move inside. He floats, he shifts, he creates from nothing. That's not just raw talent. That's a vision of the game shaped by Pep Guardiola himself. Foden is Guardiola's perfect student, a player who understands space, timing, and movement like a seasoned veteran. When he plays, he doesn't just follow instructions. He paints the pitch like an artist with a ball at his feet. So here's the real question. Is Phil Foden already the best left-footed English player in the league right now? Let us know in the comments. Is it Foden, Saka, or Salah? And more importantly, are we witnessing the rise of a player who could one day define an entire generation of football? In football, there are things you can analyze: data, stats, heat maps, pass completion percentages. Computers can break all of that down to a science. But there's one thing no machine can fully grasp: vision. The way a player sees the game, reacts to it, and moves within it. It's instinct. It's intelligence. It's something that doesn't show up on a spreadsheet. And that's where Phil Foden becomes something else entirely. His manager knows it. Guardiola doesn't ask for fixed positions. He asks for players who understand space, rhythm, flow. He gives them the freedom to read the game in real time and solve problems on the pitch like a chess master under pressure. That's why, When Foden drifts more centrally, there's purpose behind it. He's not just moving to fill a gap, he's seeing something. Maybe it's the chance to link up tighter with De Bruyne, to pull a defender out of position, to create just enough chaos so that Doku can slip through unnoticed. It's all calculated, but not in the way analysts calculate. It's feel. It's flow. That kind of thinking, fast, instinctive, improvisational, can't be taught. It's what separates a skilled player from a special one. And it's why I'm so curious, and honestly a little nervous, to see what Foden will do this Saturday against Brazil. At Wembley, 4 p.m. Brasilia time. Dorival's first game as Brazil's manager, and already he's got a puzzle to solve. Foden is going to test us, technically, tactically, mentally. And look, just because I'm saying Foden is currently the most complete left-footed attacker of the three we mentioned earlier, that doesn't mean I think Saka or Salah are underperforming. Quite the opposite. Saka's absolutely flying in the Premier League. Salah, still destroying defenses like it's nothing. But there's something about Foden's game right now that just feels different. It's not flashy for the sake of being flashy. It's intelligent. It's sharp. It's got purpose. And mind you, I support the red side of Manchester, so saying this isn't easy, but credit where credit is due. Sometimes, even as a rival fan, you have to recognize brilliance when you see it. Anyway, I'll leave it there for now. If you've made it this far, I want to know what you think. Who's your pick, Foden, Saka, or Salah? Who's really dominating the Premier League this season, and who would you trust in a big game? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's start the debate. Respectful, passionate, and full of football love. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around. We've got a lot more coming. Big hugs to everyone watching. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next one.